Hello again. Right, well, a few weeks back I made a review and test video of the new HD Type 26 1080 keychain cam, and I showed you some of the accessories. One of the accessories was this rather neat little waterproof case. So today I thought I'd take a more in-depth look at it. Okay, where do we start? Construction seems to be nicely made. It came with a spare gasket set. The camera just drops in like so. Clip it up, closed. Right, it's got a 1/4 inch tripod mount in the base so that you can put it on some of the accessories that are available for it. 3 operating buttons. As I explained in my video, the camera auto starts, so you press this and the camera starts. Now I don't know if you can see, but there's a tiny little red light flashing there which shows you that it's actually recording 1080. Not easy to see even in this kind of light, but in bright sunlight very difficult to see. So I might show you later. I've actually modified one of these keychain cams by putting a top of an LED in, which does make it a bit more visible, but it wasn't a particularly easy modification. But it does mean that, well, actually you can barely see that. Is that working? Now it's working, look. It does make it a bit more visible, but it wasn't a particularly easy modification. But I might make a video explaining how that is done. Biggest problem I found in use was if you go in and out of salt water with it, because this little lens here is very small, you end up with salt on there and it starts getting fogged. First time I used it was a local swimming pool, outdoor swimming pool. Tried it in and out of the water, and afterwards my film of the swimming pool outdoors was completely fogged. This time I actually went kayaking, which is, I got some nice footage. But aware of the fact that it might fog, what I did was I actually blew the water away from that when I took it out of the water, or I licked it to lick the salt water off. But it's a shame they didn't make this cover slightly bigger so that you could actually wipe it with a cloth, because if you're on a muddy trail, shall we say mountain biking, and you got mud on it, unless you had some fresh water and you kept rinsing it off, you could get some pretty mucky results. But what else can I say? It would have been nice if it had a little lanyard on it, because if you're swimming or diving you could quite easily drop the thing and you'd lose it, or it would float to the surface, but whether you'd find it again I don't know. What I did when I was kayaking was I put a little loop of string around this bit and attached it to me so that I couldn't actually lose it. The results were actually very good. The colours are a little oversaturated, but you could always take that out in an edit suite. It has been pointed out in another review that these buttons don't actually touch down centrally on the buttons on the camera, although they did actually function, but I'm not sure whether it would do the thing much good having when you're actually pressing the side of the button and not, I don't suppose you can see it, when you're actually pressing the side of the button and not in the middle of it. Clip's not very easy to undo. Need to get your fingernails under that. And I noticed before when I dropped the camera out that the gasket comes off too, which is a bit of a pain in the butt. So what I intend to do with that is, to stop that happening, is just put a little blob of silicone on the corner on each bit of the gasket. Clear silicone, just a tiny blob, and that will stop it falling out. The other slight problem I had was mounting, because I know people are going to say, how did I mount the camera when I was kayaking? Well, there are accessories available, such as this little bracket here that screws on. So in theory you could, if you had an elasticated strap, you could mount it on the side of your head like so, because the bracket allows this, oh, I can't get it to move now. This bracket will allow it to move up and down, so you could get it in a suitable position. There are sticky pads. If you're wearing a helmet you could use a sticky pad, and a different mount why can't I get it in the centre of this picture? Here we are. Or you could use one of these things with a sticky pad, but if you're not wearing a helmet, then it's not so easy to mount. So what did I do? I actually used a Gorilla Pod, mounted this on there, and tucked the Gorilla Pod down the front of my buoyancy aid. Or if not, what I did was I stood it on the kayak and pointed it at me, like so. Get in the middle here. Okay, so good results from the test videos. As I say, the only thing to watch for is fogging of the lens. Maybe they'll come up with a different version. I was thinking about this last night, and the only way I could imagine you could improve this case would be if the lid, top of the lid was fixed. That would enable it to have a bigger lens cover here, and then you could slot the camera in from behind with a lid that closed at the back. But you know, they've gone to all the trouble of making this, and I don't suppose they're going to make another one. Just to illustrate my point about how difficult it might be to clean this, even if you kind of huff on it and try and use the end of your t-shirt with a finger, you can't actually get in there like so, because of the recess. Your finger doesn't actually get into the lens. I mean, you can kind of just about do this, I guess, but not very convenient if you were sailing. It just would have been so much better if they'd made the orifice a bit bigger. Okay then, so in a nutshell, great little case, nicely made. Will do the job. I don't know how deep you could dive with it, but it's as long as you're aware of the fact that you might end up with some foggy images and make sure that's kept clean, then you could get some good results with this. And by the way, I have just put a little blob of silicone in each corner here on the gasket to stop it falling out, because that was the other problem I had, gasket falling out. Okay, on with the test clips. In the rocks around Brixham, but it was just too mucky there. It's not a GoPro, it's a